When you go to Kemet school, you became more alert. You made a wake up. Your spirit wake up. And you became a more human being. That's your character is built in a school. When you study what you call classical studies, we must know Netcher. You see, maybe in the future we need to know some heretic too. We need to know Netcher. In Kemet, for me, is education. The way they think, they build, and they practice their education is very unique in history. Without education, I believe there will be no Kemet.
Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie. Defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woo-hoo-wee. Man, y'all already know what it is, man. It's God killer in the house. Yo, check this out. We come to do what we got to do, and we're going to do what we got to do. We standing tall. We standing strong. Hey, it is Raw Squad Up. Look, family, man, got the squall in the building in full force, man. We're going to have a very, very interesting evening. You know, we like the iron men and women of this thing right here. We got about 8 years straight of being undefeated. And I presume, right, that we'll continue that streak. So tonight we got New York Reggie in the building. You know what I'm saying? He wants to present his scholarly critique and evidence. You know what I'm saying? He's the last man standing, you know what I'm saying, from the old guard to the new guard. I'm telling you, man, we had to usher in the new guard right now. Reggie holding fast, right, on the information that Diop's brought on Kemet, you know what I'm saying, and meaning the black people, the black land, right? And then you got the Raw Squad led by Asahotep dealing with quote unquote that Kemet don't mean black, right? Backed up by brother Wu John, brother Sinjetti, and the whole daggone squad. So we're gonna really get it in. First of all, let me introduce the lovely Dr. Oya Mayat. Raw Squad Up. What's good, sis?
Hey, Raw Squad up to you, brother Uncle Ket. Raw Squad up to you, brother Wujawu. But Raw Squad up, brother Asar Imhotep. Raw Squad up even to my man, brother Reggie. How's everyone doing? I just want to say Alafia, peace. Ikale, which means good night, and Baoni. What's happening? What's going on? Happy to be on the panel, brother Ankh, and I'm looking forward to tonight's discussion. I know brother Reggie, he said he's going to bring it. And so I'm looking forward to, this discussion and just sitting back and scrutinizing his information.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Raw Squad Up.
I'm a Raw Squad Up. Yeah, y'all know, what I'm saying? This particular episode is brought to you by Abjeware. Man, y'all know what it is, man. Go to www.abjeware.com, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Got a whole host of shoes, sneakers, boots, the whole 9 yards, shirts, no religion, the whole 9 yards, man. Make sure y'all do that. So let me say this real quick. Woo Jai, Netcher Scholar. I'm a Raw Squad Up. What's good, bro?
I'm in Raw Squad Up, and man, that intro that you do, man, you hype up anybody, boy. But I can feel it through Dr. Ma'at's voice. But yeah, I'm a Raw Squad Up. Peace to the panel. Peace to you, Dr. Ma'at. Peace to you, brother Ankh, Asar Motep, and good brother New York Reggie. Brother Reggie is in the house. And as I told the brother Reggie, I'm looking forward to his information. As a scientist, I call myself a scientist. I follow the evidence. So, and this is what we do. So the brother is going to be presenting some information, and I just will be listening tentatively, and hopefully the brother can satisfy my curiosities and everything. So that's what I look forward to.
Okay, yeah. So y'all know we had brother Netcher had a crack at it and he failed. So what I'm saying is that New York Reggie is the last line of defense. Man, he's from the old school, you know what I'm saying? And the one that Kenny hold. If he go down, right, everybody go down with him on that side. That's all I want to say. Brother Sahotep, the trouble starter. What's good, brother? What's happening?
Peace and blessings, everyone. Good. Peace to the panel, Dr. Mahat, of course, Brother Jawu, and Brother Unk, and of course our good brother Reggie, and everyone who's not here but also part of the squad, and of course the listening audience for taking their time and blessing us with their presence on this Saturday evening. They could be doing anything, but they chose to be here with us. So I want to give y'all a shout out. Thank y'all for listening.
Mm-hmm. Hey, look, shout out to Sister Naya, Voices of Fire. You know, I'm a Raw Squad up. And shout out to Smash Rock Wells. Y'all know what it is, man. And shout out to brother Son Jetty. So, how you doing there, brother Reggie, man? Welcome aboard. I'm a Raw Squad Media, right? Appreciate you got that heart, bro. I'm appreciating that heart. Right? Anytime you come on the panel with the Raw Squad with some scholarship, you got to be tight, bro. So I know you ready to bring it, man. I know everybody waiting to hear what you got to say because, like I said, you the last line of defense, New York Reggie. If you go down, all the elders go down with you. And I'm thinking the ship is leaking, and I don't know, Reggie. How you doing, New York Reggie? What's good, man? Good to have you back around, bro.
Peace to the fam. It's good to see everybody. It's good to definitely see the Amira Squad. This program is generously supported by Abjuware. Get your Abjuware. This is going to be a very important conversation. It's a very important response to the scholar, the thinker, Asar Imhotep's assertion that Kim does not mean black and Kemet doesn't mean the black land. And, you know, I'm a longtime member of the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. Many people know my work. It's good to be back on a platform. And I could not be anywhere else in the world but be here with the Amira Squad responding to Asar's assertions. Shout out to Netcher. Shout out to Netcher. And so after you give the basis for the argument, then I'll proceed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good, brother Bujai.
All right. So, yeah, and I appreciate everybody tuned in. So what I want to do real quick for the listening audience is to bring everybody up to speed very, very quickly because I don't want to cut into Brother Reggie's time. You know, we're going to give Reggie the entire floor. So hopefully you all can see my screen. And this was the, you know, the very quick advertisement. So we have a presentation by Brother Reggie. And so what I'm going to do real quick, be as quick as possible, I'm going to bring everybody up to speed. So where we are, all right, this is the question and the topic. So here are the issues and the hypotheses that we're discussing, or the brother Reggie will touch on. So there's an ongoing debate since at least the 1960s on the meaning of the place name Kemet. And I have place name highlighted and underlined in red, the place name Kemet. So there are primarily two hypotheses for this particular question. Hypothesis one is that Kemet means black land. And so you have a whole category of people that will assert that. Hypothesis two is that Kemet means black people. And so you have people that assert that. Point 3, both claims assume that the root of the word Kemet is the word Kem, meaning black in Egyptian. All right. So that's the issue, and those are the running hypotheses. All right. Now, just so we're all clear, and so that everybody's on the same page and in sync, this is what the issue is not. All right. What the issue and question is not. So point 1, it's not about the question, does the word black exist as an adjective in ancient Egyptian language? We're not here to argue that, and that's not in dispute. I think everyone who touches on the language knows that there's an adjective that means black. Point 2, the question is not, can we find cognates of the adjective black in related African languages? Anybody who's a comparative linguist will know and have shown that time and time again. So that's not an issue either. No one's disputing that. Point 3, did the Egyptians use color terms to describe a person or thing? No one's disputing that. Everyone knows that the Egyptians used color terms to describe things or a person. Point 4, the question is not, do classifiers have to be present for every attestation of a word? Okay, so that's not in dispute. So those 4 points, keep that in mind. These are not in dispute. All right, we all pretty much are in agreement on all of these things. Okay, so real quickly, I would like to share Shekinah Diop's words with everyone to kind of set the stage for why we question this thing in the first place. So this is a quotation from Shekinah Diop, an actual live interview of him, and I'll just read his words. He says, "I would like to see above all a great number of researchers, Afro-Americans, young Americans, even whites. Why not? Because it's the young who are the least prejudiced. As a consequence, they are the most capable of making triumph ideas which frighten the older generation. Also, I think it will be necessary to put together a polyvalent scientific teams capable of doing in-depth studies for sure, and that's what's important. It bothers me when someone takes me on my word without developing a means to verify what I say. We must form a scientific spirit capable of seeing even the weaknesses of our own proofs, of seeing the unfinished side of our work, and of committing ourselves to completing it. You understand? Therefore, we should have a work which could honestly stand criticism, because what we've done would have been placed on a scientific plane." So those are the words of Shekinah Diop, and that's the spirit in which this question is asked. So I want everybody not to get it twisted that Shekinah Diop is probably the greatest genius of the modern day, and we all probably wouldn't be doing what we're doing without him. But we're taking his words and actually doing what he's asked to be done. So here's Asari Imhotep's argument. So I'm just reviewing very quickly what Asari Imhotep's arguments were, and this is what the brother Reggie is going to address for us tonight. So Asari Imhotep's arguments is that both hypotheses are incorrect for the following reasons. 1, scholars, now this is not just directed to Shekinah Diop. These are all scholars. Scholars ignore the chronology and the earliest usage of the term. 2, scholars ignore the classifiers written in the earliest forms of the term. 3, both hypotheses fail to support the idea that the root of Kemet is Kem, meaning black. Okay. Now, by that last thing, real quick, both hypotheses fail to support the idea that the root of Kemet is the word Kemet, meaning black. Here's just a very quick explanation of why that's a question. Here are some words that have Kem in it that don't mean black. We have Kem, that means performing work, Kemkat, Kemetu, inhabitants of a place, Kem meaning to complain, Kem meaning make full, Kem meet, book of wisdom, etc. So there are other words that we would pronounce and transliterate as Kem that mean things other than black. So this is why it's important that both hypotheses fail to support the idea that the root Kem is the one that means black. Okay? So Hypothesis 1 is basically ushered by a lot of scholars. James P. Allen is just used as an example. And he basically says that the word Kemet, Egypt, literally means black, referring to the soil of the Nile Valley. All right, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. Hypothesis 2 is mainly coming from our beloved Sheikh and the Diop. And he states that the Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves, Kemet, which equaled the Negroes, literally. All right, so that's hypothesis 2. Just real quickly. So now, this is something that was presented. The logic of the actual argument is at fault. And so here's why. Premise 1, a word well, let me go back real quick. This is a continuation of what Sheikh and the Diop said. He says, in the Egyptian language, a word of assembly is formed from an adjective or a noun by putting it in the feminine singular. Kemet from the adjective kem, equaling black. It therefore means strictly Negroes or at the very least black men. The term is a collective noun which thus described the whole people of pharaonic Egypt as black people. Now this quotation is problematic, and so this is what's outlined as the problem. It's actually laid out as a faulty logic. Here's the reason why. So premise 1, a word of assembly is formed from an adjective or a noun by putting it in the feminine singular. Premise 2, Kemet from the adjective kem, meaning black. The conclusion based on the link of premise 1 and 2 is that it therefore means strictly Negroes or at the very least black men. So the problem is that there's an assumption being made, and the premise itself has not been independently validated in the first place. So this is called begging the question fallacy. So 2 points. This argument is fallacious in part because it does not offer an independent reason for the claim he is trying to support, the dependency problem. In other words, Diop is trying to support something by supposing proved what he has yet to prove. So here's the critical questions, and this is what Brother Reggie is going to deal with. Has the arguer avoided the obligation to provide independent support for a claim by restating it in similar terms? 2. Has the arguer avoided the obligation to provide independent support by assuming somewhere in the premises the very thing that has to be shown? And that's what we're dealing with the premises that I just quoted. So we must ask of each premise the grounds on which we are to ask to accept it as true and valid. Asking this question will expose cases in which we discover that the grounds by which we should accept a premise is the very point that we are supposed to see being proved in the conclusion. Where we can show this to occur, we have detected an instance of the fallacy called begging the question. So that's what I want to set in everybody's mind and set the scope of the discussion, and look forward to Brother Reggie satisfying these points that are made, and he's able to do what others have not been able to do prior to tonight. All right. So with that, I will pass it on to our good brother Reggie.
Peace to the fam. Peace to the fam. Like I said, it is great to be back on a platform. I would not like to be anywhere else but be here defending the work of my teachers. And not just because they are my teachers, but in fact, because they were right. And so this gives me an obligation. I fully understand, completely understand the argument. Shout out to Ned and Neb, that warrior. They came on. And I think he laid the groundwork for what I am going to finish tonight. And that, in my opinion, Ned and Neb won the debate, and I'm going to show you why he won the debate tonight. So I'm going to get started I'm going to share my screen and get started with my presentation. There you go. Share. Can everybody hear me? I hope everybody can hear me. That'll give me a gauge.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. And just real quick, Brother Reggie, For those who are watching, again, we thank you for watching. We got over 100 people watching and everything. If you like the information, thumb it up. Thumb it up. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell so when we go live and we do this kind of thing in the future, you'll be notified. All right, so back to you, Reggie.
Title of my presentation is Kemet Remains the Black Land, Response to Asar Imhotep and his School of Thought, a language, historical, and dramatic response to all who attempt to separate the term Kemet from blacklist, land, linguistics, and people. This is dedicated to Dr. Reggie Amin. Without her, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't understand any of the concepts that I am going to talk about. I thank her for her expert and caring teachings to ordinary Africans, the Medew Netcher. She could have taught intellectuals. She could have spent a lifetime teaching intellectuals, but she also taught the ordinary African. Many of you know this program is generously supported by Abdiware and the Amin Ra Squad. I encourage you to buy Abdiware products and to buy the books of Asar Imhotep and Ujao and Ank's book, and all of the media support Dr. Ma'at, support the Amin Ra Squad. My name is Brother Saber, Brother Reggie. Let's see why my screen is not changing. Okay, good. Okay. For Diop, Carruthers, Benjo-Cannon, Clark, Karanga, Hilliard, Ankh Mira, Obanga, Reggie Amin, Scobie Jeffries, Small, Beatty, Ben Levy, Askak, and young scholars and thinkers on the front line, such as Netanyahu, Asar Khan, and others. Against intellectually Asar, Imhotep, Wujao, Irimad, and Brother Sanjeti, only if he agrees with Kim, only if he disagrees with Kim being black. I haven't spoken to Brother Sanjeti, so I do not know his full opinion, but I do know that So I do know that Ujao wants to follow the evidence, and against all of their team who challenged the Middle Egyptian feminine T rule, and Diop for the adjective black qualifying the determinative. Excuse me if you are innocent in this. Also against all European revisionists and all those who misuse the comparative method alone or incompletely to prove that Kemet wasn't the black land or black people, depending on the determinative. After this presentation, is my hope that you update your research. If their research fails to test, then it is outdated. Yet they are still my brothers, though they are wrong. And this presentation should undo what they have done, and they should rewrite their papers. What I will do in this talk is quickly show that Asar made terrible mistake in understanding Egyptian grammar and claiming that Kemet does not mean the black land or black people. Prove that Kemet is black and Kemet is the black land for black people. State my disagreement with Asar's method of even attempting to use a comparative method to deny Kemet. Explain the reason for Kemet, the state, the country, and I will end and then Sejam, which is listen. Before I begin, I listened to Asar's introduction and his path to his work. Mark Brunel, Black Athena, and his detractors on his work came late to this argument about Kemet. Dr. George G.M. James' work, The Stolen Legacy, publishing date was 1954. Diop began publishing on ancient Egypt as late as 1973. In 1974, Diop presented at the Cairo Symposium on the peopling of ancient Egypt and the deciphering of the Meroic script. In 1974, argued that there were inconsistencies and contradictions in the way African data was handled. By 1977, Diop began outlining his hypotheses on the unity of indigenous African languages, beginning with the ancient Egyptian language. Diop corroborated with Theophile Obanga and Saussure and Gilbert on those particular papers. Let me see, and Musa, right? So other Africans beginning to join Sheikh Anta Diop in and re-looking at their own languages and ancient Egypt. Let me just say, during this time, there was a flurry of activities of Black scholars emerging with interest, works, and publications on the subject, including Benjo Cannon, the late Dr. Carruthers, and Richetti, Dr. Richetti, Almond Jones, Karenga, to be followed by papers in the national organizations such as the African Heritage Studies Association, Council of Black Studies, and the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization, ASCAC. At the same time, African/Black Studies became an academic discipline that actually began to incorporate these ideas. I was a student at City College under Dr. Leonard Jeffries and was so part of the publishing team of Civilization of Barbarism in English, roughly about 1987, 86, 87 or so, when Dr. Yalingi Ngemi took on the task of translating Civilization of Barbarism, and I was part of the technical team working on the computer system, because Civilization of Barbarism was one of the first documents published by Black people on a computer. People do not know that it wasn't published, but it was typed and on it. And I was in charge of that system. I used to listen to Diop and Dr. Leonard Jeffries talk for hours, as though I've never met Dr. Shekhar Diop. Diop has proved his argument that Kemet meant Black people so eloquently that Egyptologists were stuck in paradigm blindness. Now, I watched the debate with Netcher, Neb, and Asar, and said after I would have some response to Asar, and now I will proceed. I want to state that Asar-Imhotep did not prove that Kemet was not the Black land. He did not prove that, nor did he prove that Kem for the ancient Egyptians was not Black. All he attempted to do is raise doubt by using his methods. I have heard the criticisms of Netcher, Neb, but to me, he won the day. He defended the work of Diop and added some major points that were not answered for the direct answers would have had Asar-Imhotep admit defeat. I know Asar is smiling. We'll see. In addition, I am aware of the Asar-Imhotep students and peers that include Ujao Iri Ma'at and Brother Sanjeti, excuse me from misspelling your name, Brother Sanjeti, should have put an O, who agree with Asar's work that Kemet does not mean Black land and Kem does not mean Black, partially or fully. These are research topics in the Amin-Ra Squad. All these brothers are my friends, but I disagree with them. I'm aware of the comments on Net and Neb that have been going around, but Netcher, Neb again won the day and is a linguist and should be respected. As a matter of fact, his response was a first strong and correct response among others to follow to end this attack on Kemet. Though I have not talked to many of the experts watching from back chats, I hear that they will respond in time. I am happy to do this response, for it is an enormous importance. A note on methodology. My methodology for this response is to be conscious of Ma'at, for I'm an African who did some study on the greats of our time, and my adversaries notice. I will Iri Ma'at, Jemad, Iri Su, Sia, Hu, Heka, and Seja. That means Sia is divine thought, Hu is divine purpose, Heka is effective action, and Sejam means listen closely. Second, I will tell them my comments to deal primarily with what is called Egyptian grammar as a first method. Third, I will use history and primary data of the Kemetu. I didn't have to put the IW. I could have just put the W, but we're talking about the ancient people of Kemet to help the audience understand the significance of Kem and Kemet for the Nile Valley Africans and for us, and what Dr. Carruthers called and Dr. Ben Levy wrote expertly about intellectual warfare. In dealing with the Nile Valley culture, you should always have as a prerequisite Carruthers' essay in Ancient Egyptian Studies, and then read Ben Levy's paper, The Intellectual Warfare of Dr. Jacob H. Carruthers and the Battle for Ancient Nubia as the Foundational Paradigm in African Studies, Thoughts, and Reflections. At this time, who I am, besides Brother Reggie, elder of the Sons of Africa, is not important at this time. I may give my introduction later because I am not dealing with a generation who does respect credentials of people's lifelong work. You have to prove it to them. So I know that they won't respect my over 30 years involvement with the Association for Study of Classical African Civilization and my work with great teachers and my courageous scholarship, and my service. I don't expect them to respect that because they didn't go through it. They weren't around in 1984 in the creation of Association Study of Classical African Civilization. Most of them were teenagers, if at all of that. They weren't around with the greats. But that doesn't matter because they don't respect that people did. I will say for now, I received great lessons from Dr. Yosef Ben-Jochannan that are germane to this conversation. Heaven is between a black woman's legs. We come from the foothills of the mountains of the moon where the God happy dwell. The 10 virtues of Dr. George M. James and where to find them. The door of Abu Simbel and what is Kemet through his student brother William Randall X, a close companion of Dr. Ben and a member of the craft. All answers from them directly to me were sometimes direct and allegorical, and the last 3 came with tasks associated with it, meaning that they just don't give you what you ask for, they make you work for it. Dr. John Henry Clark was also a teacher of mine. He had me fetch a book in his library over 20 years ago. At this time, he was blind. He told me to stack in a row of more than 15 stacks front and back in his library in his basement. I couldn't find the book that he asked, and he was blind. He told me, Brother Reggie, you look, but you don't see. And I had to go back and find that book and then realize it was a small book and I just did not see it. Helen Keller, a famous European blind poet, said, a man is pathetic when he has vision but no sight. Our people are not pathetic but still have no sight. They just look, but they don't see. This is the reason why I'm here arguing or responding to this matter or whether Kemet was black. You're looking, but you just don't see. This has much to do with Diop Ben-Jochannan because Ben-Jochannan suspected that Diop came out of a mystery school in Senegal, great elders, but he penalized him for his marriage to a foreign wife. And that was troublesome to all of us because we couldn't have these 2 great giants collaborate. However, they agreed on one thing: Kemet was a black land. Why Kemet is a black land was clued to me by Brother William Randall X. He did not violate any oath that he might have taken. He just simply clued me. So the task was to define it myself. He said, look, Brother Reggie, Dr. Ben told us that it was in the pyramid text. I looked for years. I didn't find it until one day. Another lesson before this great reveal: myths don't have to be real, but you can make them very, very real. Trying to get my screen to go to the next page. Asar Imhotep's school of thinking on this debate argues against Kemet being the black land and black people against Diop, Obanga, Ben-Jochannan, Carruthers, Rickety, and Fedici, and a host of other scholars. He's also challenged the glyph and idea of Kim being black because he believes that they're incorrectly dependent on the root, which is Kim, which is black. In one of his points, he says, Diop assumed. I present the following slides of his. Ujao already showed it. This one is against Kemet being black and Kemet being black people's state country. He said on slide, both hypotheses are incorrect for the following reasons. They ignore chronology and the earliest usage of the term, ignore the classifiers, determinatives written in the earliest forms. Both hypotheses fail to support the idea that the root of Kemet is Kim, which is black. That's from his slide. I don't have to check with him to see if he said that. He said that. Asar then challenged Diop on the following statement to set up his claim of faulty logic that he's claiming that Diop had. The Egyptians had one term to designate themselves, Kemet, equal to Negroes literally. In the Egyptian language, a word of assembly is formed by an adjective or a noun by putting it in the feminine singular. Kemet from the adjective Kim is equal black. It therefore means strictly Negroes or at the very least black men. The term is a collective noun which does describe the whole people of Pharaonic Egypt as a people. Diop very rarely, if any, wrote in English, though he was a linguist. There are lots of times where people are just transcribing his work from French, and they don't get the full idea of what Diop was saying and don't know how to question him. And that was the problem with civilizational barbarism, because Dr. Leonard Jeffries had first tried to translate that incredible work but it was just too technical, too difficult. Yalinghi Ngemi had a better, well, he was French speaking, so he had a better sense of what Diop was saying, but still, in some cases, he may have missed exactly what Diop was saying, and some things could have been explained a little better. First, let's see what Diop actually said. Assad said that Diop said this: the Egyptians have only one term to designate themselves, Kemet equal the Negroes literally. But Diop actually said this: the Egyptians had only one term to designate themselves, and now he gives the glyph equal Kemet, the Negroes literally. This is the strongest term existing in the Pharaonic tongue to indicate blackness. This word is the etymological origin of the well-known root Kemet, which has proliferated in modern anthropological literature. The biblical root Cam is probably derived from it and has therefore been necessary to distort the facts to enable the root today to mean white. In Egyptological terms, whereas in the Pharaonic mother tongue, which gave it birth, it meant black. So Diop is saying at this point that Kem meant black. So Saul would say that he's assuming that it meant black, but he is saying that it meant black. It's a remarkable circumstance that ancient Egyptians should never have had the idea of applying these qualifications to the Nubians and other populations of Africa to distinguish from themselves. The Egyptians used expression Nahas to designate the Nubians, and et cetera, et cetera. What I'm trying to do is show you what Diop actually said, instead of taking a part from it. So why isolate the point? Diop's point was that Kemet, with the people, determinative was the strongest term to indicate themselves. Saying that, not assuming, but saying that Kem meant black. And there was no reason to take out this and the rest of the things that he took out. In the other quote, in Egyptian language, a word of assembly is formed from an adjective or a noun and putting in the feminine singular. Kemet from the adjective Kem equal black. It therefore means strictly Negroes or the very least black men, which I already read that. The term is a collective noun which thus describes the whole people of Pharaonic Egypt as black people. But Diop in the next paragraph said, in other words, on a purely grammatical plane, so that means he's cognizant of grammar. If one wishes to indicate Negroes in the Pharaonic tongue, one cannot use any other word than the very one which the Egyptians use for themselves. Therefore, the language offers us another term, which is Kemetu, the Negro, the black man literally, equals the Egyptians, as opposed to foreigners, which comes from the same root Kem, and which the Egyptians also used to describe themselves as a people distinguished from all foreign people. There are the only adjectives of nationality used by Egyptians to designate themselves, and both mean Negro or black in the Pharaonic language. Scholars hardly ever mention them, or when they do is to translate them by the euphemisms, such as Egyptian, while remaining completely silent about their etymological sense. They prefer the expression Remet Kemet, the men of the country of the black men, or the men of the black country. So again, I believe that Asar Imhotep was cherry picking Diop's points. I'm going to show you more why. Diop is saying that Kemet and Kemetu are adjectives of nationality, both meaning black. Diop then says the following, and this was not included in Asar's so-called assumption by Diop. Perhaps so, but if we apply the rule rigorously, Kemet, we are forced to concede that here the adjective black qualifies a determinative, which signifies the whole people of Egypt, shown by the two people symbols of man and women, and three strokes below them would indicate the plural. Thus, it is possible to voice a doubt as regards the expression Kemi. It is not possible to do so in the case of the two adjectives of nationality. So Diop is saying that these are adjectives of nationality, and the adjective is Kem, which is black, unless one is picking one's arguments completely random. Diop makes the point that Asar never took notice of in his classifier argument. Diop says that the adjective qualifies the determinative, meaning that if the adjective is Kim and Kim is black, and we're going to prove that, he is using something called the singular feminine T rule, right? Or the singular adjective feminine T rule. My point is better to read Diop for his complete arguments and Assar as being disingenuous by being incomplete or on purpose by not letting Diop make his whole points before calling his points fallacious. Diop applied the rule for intellectual warfare to prove to the intellectual community that the feminine T rule of the feminine singular T rule must apply to black being the objective of the people. What I'm saying is that when Diop set this out, he didn't set this out. He set this out for the whole entire intellectual community, particularly whites, meaning if there is a rule called the feminine singular T rule, then if you apply it to Kemet, then it works. So it's a formula. Assar then called the great elders' arguments fallacious and logic flawed and sets this argument of faulty logic by not dealing with Diop's entire argument. Source slide. Premise 1, a word of assembly is formed by an adjective or a noun by putting it in feminine singular. Premise 2, Kemet from the adjective Kim is equal black. Conclusion, therefore, means strictly Negroes or the very least black men. Diop did not argue this, nor did he say that the Middle Egyptian rule was his, the feminine singular T rule. He never said it was his. He simply applied it to Kemet. And raised the questions, why don't the Europeans apply the same grammar rule to Kemet? Diop applied the rule and then stated that the adjective qualifies the determinative, not this constructed premise that Assar never sought out to disprove the feminine T rule, as Nedew observed as well. Assar followed up with the following slides. Critical questions. Has the arguer avoided the obligation to provide independent support for a claim by restating in similar terms? Has the arguer avoided the obligation to provide independent support by assuming someone in the premise of the very thing that has to be shown? Begging the question fallacy. The argument is fallacious. Can everybody still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Begging the question fallacy. This argument is fallacious in part because
hold up. I'm sorry, Reggie. Please hold your thought. I don't want to disturb your flow. I just want to make sure that the audience can still hear you. So if y'all can still hear Reggie and hear me and everything is fine, just indicate for us, and I'll just monitor while Reggie's still talking. So go ahead, Reggie. But if y'all can still hear us and everything's cool, just let us know in the chat. Okay, go ahead, Reggie.
Okay, so Assar set up in his own mind that this is the begging the question fallacy. This argument is fallacious in part because it does not offer an independent reason for the claim he is trying to support, the dependency problem. In other words, Diop is trying to support something by supposing proof what he has yet to prove. That may be the case if Diop didn't say the things that he did say. But Diop is following a formula, the feminine singular T formula that is part of Egyptian grammar. So he's following that rule first, and then what he is doing is he applied it to Kemet. So he's applying a particular rule. Now, so Assar set up the uninformed viewer up with these questions. However, Diop further says that Kim wear the great Negro for Osiris. Kim equals the black plus the name of the god. Kemet, the black plus the name of the god. So Diop is using an adjective and then looking at the determinatives. The Kim black qualification is applied to Hathor, Pis, Men, Antuhudi, etc. Then he says Set Kim equal black woman, Isis. He's using the adjective to qualify the determinative. On the other hand, Seth, the sterile desert, is qualified by Deseret, red. the wild animals which Horus fought to create civilization are qualified as desert equal red, especially the hippopotamus. Similarly, the maleficent things wiped out by Tahuti or Deseru, the red ones. This term is a grammatical converse of Kemetu, and its construction follows the same rule for the formation of Nesbis. Diop, in his paper, which Asar left out, he is showing us that he's following particular rule that the adjective qualifies the determinative, and that the determinative, we don't know, we know what the determinative may mean, but the adjective actually gives it much more information. These are Diop's additional examples of the feminine singular T rule and the adjectives qualifying the determinative. Now, Asar, he missed the Middle Egyptian grammar rule in his lesson on Egyptian determinatives, the case of Kemet. Okay, so he's, for example, we have the variation, Kim is black and Kimu to be dark. The first variant is also used to convey the word Kim to be blind, as to be blind is to be in a continuous state of darkness, blackness. So these are Asar's words. Another variant is given as Kim to be black. These examples are taken from Vigus 2012. But one can look at Budge 787 for even more examples of the determinative for the word being black. We know then that the D3 glyph is used to convey color. Asar is saying that the D3 glyph is used to convey color because he doesn't understand the rule. The rule is that the adjective qualifies the determinative, and it is the adjective that that tells you what the color of the glyph is, because any hair stroke doesn't mean that people have black hair. Hair could be red hair. The hair could be blonde hair. So it is wrong to say that the glyph is used to convey the color. I hope you understand that. In each of the variants, the word is followed by the D3 hair determinative. The word Kim black can be written without the determinative for hair, as seen in this variant Kim is black, but the omission is still rooted in the variants above. In other words, we have the variants with D3 determinatives as representative of a more fuller sense that it gives us to the point in which to cross-check if the scribe decided to omit the glyph, the determinative, which is very common in Egyptian writing. The syntax and context of the sentence allows us to make this distinction. I'm saying that Asar Imhotep, the great thinker, writer, and scholar, really does not know the rule, and he left out what Diop said, and so he never understood that the adjective qualifies the determinative. So of course, sometimes the determinative doesn't have to be there because in fact, the adjective is there. The question now becomes if blackness was conveyed, he's saying, I'm not saying, the question now becomes if blackness was conveyed using the D3 hair determinative. Why do we not see the determinative or any variants of the word Kemet, Egypt? If Egyptians wanted to speak of the color of the land of the people, why did they use that glyph that associated with blackness to reaffirm the root with color? We should see this in at least one example, but there's no such example. They did not employ the determinative, however, to a number of the other vocabulary words, for example, and the D3 determinative is present in the name of Set, Kemet, the black woman Isis, Waterbush. It is clear that blackness is meant here because of the hair determinative. We see the determinative in the following terms: Kimi black. We know it is referring to goddess because of the woman determinative behind the D3 glyph. But at the same time, since the D3 determinative is also a nature and disposition, there will be more to this glyph than what meets the eye. An example is usage of primarily text will clarify for us its true meaning. The Egyptians did not employ the D3 determinative in the name Kimware because many Egyptologists render the word to mean the great black, but I do not think this is the meaning. If anything, it is a variant of Jinware, the great ruler. By leaving out, ignoring the feminine singular T rule, he gets the wrong conclusion. Netcher immediately tried to explain to you that he was using the wrong rule. The other part of it is he is also using all of this is Middle Egyptian grammar, This is not a conversation about just Middle Egyptian grammar. This is pre-dynastic. This is Old Kingdom and Middle Kingdom. This is New Kingdom. This is Late Kingdom. This is Coptic, right? All stages of ancient Egyptian language uses the adjective to qualify the determinative. The adjective qualifies the determinative. The great thinker Asar-Imhotep, he has sight, but he doesn't have vision. He's looking, but he doesn't see. He misapplied a rule. And so with that, all of his premises are wrong because it is Kem. If Kem is black or desert, Kem is red. Any adjective with the applying the feminine T rule will make the adjective tell you what it is, even if the determinative is not there. He is looking at the D3 glyph that you will find in the Middle Egyptian. You might find it in Old Kingdom, but in his example, he's looking at the D3 glyph instead of using the adjective Kim to qualify the glyph. Now, so I saw Mr. Egyptian grammar rule in his lesson on Egyptian determinatives, the case of Kemet. The word Kemet is one of the many names to represent the state of ancient Egypt. The name consists of the root Kem, which is a terminal suffix that many believe is a feminine T. As discussed earlier, the two competing hypotheses are: one, the word Kemet means black land soil, and two, Kemet means black people nation, specifically addressing phenotype. If the former is correct, then the word would essentially be an adjective to describe the physical characteristics of the ground. Many argue that it refers to the rich alluvial soil that is deposited on the banks of the Nile River. The problem with this hypothesis is that not all areas of Egyptian flooded with alluvial soil, and we doubt that enough black soil was left to cover the entire state, enough to inspire the name of the whole country, which we mainly brown desert land. The latter argument suffers from the fact that ancient Egyptians were indeed black by our modern Western standards, but the Egyptians were indeed surrounded by other black African people. Many people who are much darker than them in many respects. Why would the Egyptians need to call themselves black while living in a continent full of black people? What distinguishes them from other black people? Their color? Question mark. Also, did they have the same racialized thinking and categorizing schema that we have today in the West? My argument is that they did not. Although they recognized different skin tones as evidence in gray hair to Aten, there is no evidence that they knew of such a thing as human races, and there is no vocabulary term in Egyptian for race, so it's highly unlikely the name implies something racial. Here Saw states the feminine T rule. He doesn't actually describe what the feminine T rule is that he is using. He is using the feminine T rule to make things feminine, but he's not using the singular feminine T rule that applies to adjective. Asar-Imhotep lost the debate because he's confusing different rules. There's nothing that nothing to do to fix it from all the examples that he gave. Kim is black with the D3 glyph, right? No, it's the adjective that qualifies the determinative, right? Let's see another thing. Set the black woman Isis because of their hair. It's not because of Isis' hair. She could be blonde. She could be red. Her hair could be red. Her hair could be black. It could be brown. There's different hair. So this is clear that Diop was not talking about it. Asar-Imhotep suffered in this case from paradigm blindness for whatever reason. But it doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is that audience, Asar-Imhotep, the great thinker, did not apply the correct rule. What is the rule? Okay, so to my sin job. Now seeing that there's no mention of the singular feminine T rule in his own words, Asar-Imhotep missed the rule and did not apply it. By not applying the rule, he has no basis for the argument against Diop and Kemet, period. Nor did he state the rule from a grammar book or the rule that he is particularly using. To the audience, I spoke to Ujao, who I'm impressed with his Medew Netcher and his expectations. His Medew Netcher is at least twice better than mine. He kindly told me that he follows the data, not the personality. If this is so, Ujao, then you must listen closely and note the initial mistake. You cannot cover it up. You can't fix what Asar Imhotep did by not stating the grammar rules. Otherwise, you in your response to this must show the Middle Egyptian grammar that in the cases that does not apply to Kemet or desert, and show me your evidence that it doesn't mean black, that the adjective does not qualify the determinative. I expect you to show me in your response why Asar is still correct, even though we can see that he didn't follow the rule. I'm noting that you have an argument on top of man, and we can address that. But I don't think it's even necessary when I get done with this, because Asar Imhotep applied the wrong rule. If you notice that Asar never used the correct rule at some point, you must irimat. You must irimat and correct Isfat and tell Asar that his reasoning it himself is fallacious, and that he had no business calling Diop wrong, or assuming or saying that his logic was faulty and that Nether did. You have to say that Netcher did in fact state it, and he showed and tried to apply it. Asar will then argue that Diop never proved that his main premise was Kim is black, and all premises are dependent on that fact. My stance is that Asar Imhotep made Middle Egyptian grammar mistake. To prove Diop correct, I don't have to first prove that Kim means black first. So I'm going to just delete everything that he said on his other slides about dependency. What I'll show is that Asar missed a lesson on Middle Egyptian grammar and demonstrate the rule. So the first hurdle is to decide whether an adjective, Egyptian adjective, let's call the adjective equal X. It could be any particular adjective. It could be deserved. Combined with the singular feminine T becomes a noun, assembly of words that Diop calls, where the initial adjective qualifies as determinative. This is what Diop said. Adjective T is equal to a simple noun where the adjective qualifies as determinative. It tells you what the word is. Also, as we know that O Kingdom doesn't have many determinatives. They use words in context. If I show you this, then this should work for any adjective to form a noun, such as the many examples that Netcher showed. I'll qualify that to say that this should work for some adjectives to form a noun, and they should work, and they work for all of the examples that Asar Imhotep showed. In other words, I will not prove that Diop did. I will now prove that Diop did not assume. The problem is that Asar never applied the correct rule. You never applied the correct rule. You don't have a basis for this conversation. Asar is a great thinker. However, you missed the required prerequisite lessons in Middle Egyptian grammar and have no basis for your argument against Diop. I'm going to say that again. Asar Imhotep missed the required prerequisite lessons in Middle Egyptian grammar and had no basis for his argument against Diop. So let me give you your team, Amara Squad Up, who I love, and the audience, the missing lessons. I just don't want to be talking in a vacuum. Ujao, can you still hear me?
Yes, I certainly can. You can continue. And everybody said they could hear you the whole time as well.
Okay. Here, I will source authors of Middle Egyptian grammar to show Diop was correct. So here, all I have to do is apply the rule, right? Show the rule. And then I don't know, but I can guess which rule Asar Imhotep used. But he never stated, he assumed a rule. From Egyptian grammar through literature, page 11, a feminine singular adjective can be used as a noun expressing a quality of a thing. Here, nefer is a noun to a single good thing. These two clauses still contain subject comparative constructions with rare exceptions where the suffix pronouns are omitted. So here he is saying that nefer, the good, the beautiful, with the singular T rule makes neferet a single good thing. It makes it a noun. Where in this case, the nefer qualifies the word, even if the determinative is not there. From an online source, Egyptian hieroglyphics, Egyptian lesson number 5. A very common use of adjective as a noun uses the feminine singular, gender, and number. This use describes a thing as containing a certain quality. One often cited example is, again, neferet, a good thing. The book roll is commonly found as a determinative under these circumstances, but it's not always the case. But what is the case is that the adjective nefer with the singular T makes it a noun, and now it's a good thing. Now, because adjectives can function as nouns, we find the adjective nouns construction similar to those we find nouns, such as a direct genitive or in a noun phrase. One such construction has been termed the nefer-her construction by Egyptologists. In the construction, the adjective assumes the form of a noun and forms a noun phrase where the noun is perceived. For example, let's look at the word of construction again of nefer and her. So her is the face. That's the her. Here, nefer is used as a noun, a good one, based on the adjective nefer, right? And precedes her face. So a little translation could be a good one of face. A more refined English translation would be good of face. This type of construction is only found after a god, king, or person in order to qualify the type of person that they have, specific skills set that they possess. So again, the adjective, as Diop says, right, without using the word Kim, applies to the, qualifies her. Nefer, her, qualified, the nefer qualifies to her. No determinative needed, not just because the scribe omitted it, not because the scribe forgot it. It is a rule in Egyptian grammar. James B. Allen, Middle Egyptian Introduction to Language, Culture of the Hieroglyphic Space, 63. Another noun with the adjective, unlike feminine English, the feminine singular adjective neferet, for example, can be used by itself to refer to any good, beautiful, perfect, feminine person or thing. For example, neferet, the beautiful woman, or neferet, a good thing. Sometimes the scribe will add a determinative to indicate that more specifically the kind of person or thing that is means, because the noun is a thing. For example, neferet, the beautiful woman. Neferet with the determinative, a beautiful cow. Neferet with the role, a good thing or something good. When they are used as nouns, adjectives behave like other nouns. They can have the same plural and dual forms as other nouns. For example, nefer, a good one could be neferu, good ones, neferi, two good ones, neferet, a good one, singular, neferet, good ones, neferet, two good ones, like other nouns. So, but the fact of the matter is, the adjective in the rule qualifies the determinative. So you see the cow, it's the good cow, right? It's just not the cow, right? It's not cow good. It's the good cow. It's a good thing. It's a good or beautiful woman. From Hot, Middle Egyptian grammar, the independent use of the feminine singular. As noted, an adjective can be used as ordinary nouns. Of particular importance is the term singular form of adjective to mean something that is what is or a thing. Neferet, a good thing. Good. Benet, what is bad. Something great. So Diop was not wrong, and Nev's examples were not wrong. An adjective with a feminine T becomes a thing, and the adjective qualifies the thing. Now it would be nice if I could find an application to the word Kemet from a European source. Damn, from Wikipedia itself. You don't even have to look too far. Etymology, Kim, assuming that it means black, but it does. Plus the rule, singular feminine T rule, interpreted as a reference for, now they say they interpret it as a reference to the fertile black soil of the Nile Delta, all right? So there's no determinatives here, we can't see it, but you know, they want to say it's the black soil, but it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is he's using the rule. The adjective qualifies the rest of the word based on what he thinks is the determinative, right? Proper noun. So the word assembly, as Diop called it, but really a reconstruction as a noun because of the singular feminine T rule. This is Reggie talking. The black thing has an added determinative of the Neuglyph that makes it the black town, city, country, meaning black is the adjective. After if you follow the rule, then you look at the determinative and you say, okay, it's the black city, the Kemet too. You do the same thing. You look at the adjective, right, which is Kim in this case, and then you look at the people, and then with the T, with the T, you know that it's noun. So you're looking at it, the black people, where the adjective qualifies the determinative. Here, the determinative is the people. Black qualifies the determinative. Yeah. So now, Europeans, you don't expect them to follow their own goddamn rules. You expect them to say, well, let's not include the case of Kemet. So we're going to use Neferet all day. We're not going to use Kemet because we know Kem is an adjective, is black is an adjective. We're not going to use that. What we're going to use now, we're going to use Neferet, right? And we're not going to show too many more examples. Netcher, Neb, right? He said the adjective black functioning as a collective plural noun, right? Witness the knowledge of the term Kemet is a grammatical balance with the grammar of Medew Netcher. In James B. Allen, Ra, Let the Ancestors Speak, in numerous other grammar books, Dr. Diop's explanation of the grammatical structure of the term can be verified with applied Egyptian grammar rules. All Egyptian adjectives can be noun. Okay, so I realized after my conversations later that even though Netcher Neb put the rule and Asar-Imhotep never put the rule, right? His work, he was wrong. And in section 6, adjectives and nouns. In fact, all Egyptian adjectives except Neb are nouns, right? The feminine singular adjective Neferet, for instance, can be used by itself to refer to any good, beautiful, perfect, feminine. Sometimes the scribe will add a determinative to indicate what more specifically kind of person the thing is meant. When they're used as nouns, adjectives become like any other. They have the same plural and dual forms as the other nouns. So he's citing the two examples of Neferet. Neferet, the person, with the determinative, the plural, and he cited Neferet with the land, right? Good land, beautiful land, which is which I believe, which I could call all of Africa. Africa is Neferet, the good land, the beautiful land, our land. Netcher then explained with changing determinative to Kim, showing the rule, showing Diop's application. Again, Asar never attempted to apply or disprove the rule. He simply ignored the rule, obviously didn't know the rule, right? Missed the prerequisite on Egyptian grammar. The rule was not created by Diop. It's a Middle Egyptian translation rule that Diop simply applied, right? Said Kim. So Netcher Neb did the prerequisites. He showed the rule, but people are paradigm blindness, paradigm stuck in their own models, that they didn't see that Netcher Neb had in every case applied the rule. I'm making a response because I looked at Netcher Neb's work versus Asar-Imhotep's work and understood that Netcher Neb was following Diop's rule. And Asar-Imhotep was following a determinative rule, making Egypt dependent, making Egyptian words, Kemet words, deal with grammar. You can't fix that. You can't undo that. It's just simply wrong. You followed the wrong formula. You can be mad at me. You can be upset with me. But here, okay, so now let's get to the desert. Now here you have desert with the flamingo. So flamingo right here is obviously the determinative, right? And desert is an adjective, red or reddening. It's an adjective, right? So here, how can I say, there is no feminine T, right? However, right here, you see the actual adjective and you see the noun. Now, we're not talking about flamingos when we're talking about desert, right? We're actually talking about the adjective color. Now let's follow Diop's assembly of words with feminine T. So desert now becomes the red land, meaning we're using the color of the flamingo as an adjective and applying it to the land. Becomes desert, right? And so this is the construction. This is simply following the rule. Well, Diop is correct. And you get another place and the adjective, and this qualifies as determinative. Netcher was correct simply by understanding what Diop did. We are talking about red land, not flamingo land. The adjective we're not talking about flamingo land. We are actually talking about the adjective. There's no way that you could look at the desert with the flamingo yes, flamingo is a noun, but when you apply the T, the feminine T rule, right, then we're talking about it as an adjective. And now we got the red land because, again, the adjective qualifies the determinative. Diop said from his understanding, Middle Egyptian grammar, nouns with the singular T can also be constructed word, and the word qualifies as determinative. So, for example, we have waset, right? Was is a noun plus the feminine singular determinative T. We have waset. So we're talking about the place of power, right? The adjective qualifies the noun. Feminine plus the feminine singular noun. Sorry about that. The construction is it's two words here. It's ipid is set, and so you have ipid and you have a set, and so you have the case where the ipid is like a mound, and so the mound is qualifying, the great mound is qualifying the determinative, the city. It plus singular simulative plus that the particular determinative means the harem, right? Or it means the harem, but you have to take in the adjective, even if you don't understand exactly what the ancient Egyptians was thinking about when they was talking about the mound. It could be the mound of creation of life, right? And with this glyph, so you have the creation of life plus the feminine T, so you have harem. The women are mounds of life. They will give life. Winnet, right? I'm going to leave that one alone. Nor soot, soot, sweat, soot, south, plus the feminine T makes it, and then there's a determinative there. So it means the south with the T makes it ruler, south, king, and then with the perglyph that qualifies the king's palace. And jet, the noun of eternity, right? With the taglyph, so you have basically tomb, right? So following this rule, you can actually prove why the words are the words. So we're following a proof. So Imhotep in his construction never did that. Nether then showed the slide with his examples. Same thing. Now, Asar goes into this whole point. You gotta go back and listen to Asar's presentation against Nether. He says Asar points out the importance of classifiers. Okay, so I'm going to explain this. So he goes on to this whole concept of making the classifiers, the determinatives important. But however, in the disease example, Kim means black. Let's say the adjective is black, right? And the feminine T makes it a black thing. Now, when we look at this thing, and we look at different sources, sometimes they're talking about a gynecological problem of women, or and a disease. But what they're really talking about is some black organ, a diseased organ, a Kemet. So again, the adjective qualifies as determinative. It's not the determinative that's important because Asar would look at the classifier and make that important, and that is showing that he doesn't understand what Diop said. He doesn't understand. Wait, first of all, he doesn't understand the rule. Forget Diop. Then he doesn't even understand what how Diop was applying the rule, because he wanted to say to the Europeans, apply your own goddamn rule. Okay, so yeah. So the thing with the pupil, Kim is Kemet with the determinative I. Well, in this case, Kim is black, so we're looking at the black part of the I. The adjective qualifies the determinative. Here shows the 3 most common determinatives of Kemet in Middle Egyptian. He's correct for Middle Egyptian, right? But not necessarily correct for Old Egyptian. In this example, he does not follow Middle Egyptian. In all example, Middle Egyptian rule, grammar rule. In all examples, Kim glyph with the single feminine makes it the black thing. Again, the adjective qualifies a determinative, so we're looking for what type of black thing, right? What type of black thing, and the determinative tells you what type of black thing. So, in the first thing is the black field, second is the black canal, second is the black city. So it is the black, the adjective, that qualifies the determinative, not the importance of the classifier. In this nice example that I'll add for illustration to show my points, it says, now in this case, there's 2 uses of the determinative, and both Kemet is there. So it says, then I and the entire force descended to the black land, without there being any retreating of any follower or the death of a great person or a little person. I reached the black land safely because of my skill in ascending to this place. Now, that's a good translation. But here people are returning to the black land on some expedition, because that's where it comes from. And there are 2 cases of black land. One coming into the country to be more eloquent glyph of Kemet that shows that the other one shows the more eloquent glyph of Kemet in this context, returning to the life-giving, fertile, wet soil to modify what they're coming home to. So these people are coming from the Wadi Hammamet, which is the desert, right? A mining desert, right? A dry riverbed in Egypt's eastern desert, about halfway between Al-Qasur and Kina. It was a major mining region and trade route east from the Nile Valley in ancient times, and 3,000 years of rock carving and graffiti make it a scientific and tourist site today. But basically, what this is saying is that I'm coming home to my country, Egypt, right? And I'm coming back to the place that I'm familiar with, the familiar black soil or fertile soil. So the adjective is qualifying the determinative, and to help me, as opposed to coming back from this dangerous voyage in this desert, bringing back goods, being exhausted, being heat. I'm coming home, but I'm also coming home to a place that I'm familiar with. The adjective, the black soil, the black canal, the black field. So a lot of people they're traveling on buses and stuff and trains and stuff like that. And let's say Dr. Maj is coming back to Bmore. Well, she's happy that she got to Bmore, but she's more happy when she sees her house and her kids. Those are the determinatives that she's coming home to. She's coming home to the noun, the adjective noun Baltimore, as opposed to New York, as opposed to Jersey, as opposed to Buffalo, but she's coming home. But home is not important if her house wasn't safe. So the adjective qualifies the determinative. So I should have proven the feminine T rule was wrong in his construction when he was talking to Diop, applying to Kemet before using historical comparative analysis. Again, he should have proven modern Egyptian grammar was wrong. Forget about check out the Diop and Dr. Richetti and Bonacci and Karenga, Mario Beatty, Ifdisi, and even Netanyahu, right? He should have simply proved that the modern Egyptian grammar rule was wrong, And so then there was no need for his cognate reconstruction. People criticized Netter for his cognitive construction, but it wasn't Netter that started that cognitive reconstruction issue. He watched Asar Imhotep's presentation and saw doing it, and so he just thought he would do it better with genetic African languages. It's not Netter that started it. The fact of the matter is, Asar misapplied the rule. Then he goes on, instead of dealing with the rule, dealing with all the things that I did, meaning showing you what the rule is, showing you how it's applied. It's a computational program. I got a degree in comp sci. I am from the School of Engineering, right? I mean, it was example. It was the X as the adjective with applied with the T gives you the noun where the adjective qualifies the determinative. Simple as that. But what he does is he goes, the true meaning of Kemet from his reconstructions. O Naganda, village, properly in new pasturage with abundance of grass and water. I mean, here he himself is voiding the determinative of the adjective of the burning charcoal. He did not work on the chronology of that glyph, but instead used genetic cognates, a different rule, different people for different places, and he comes up, and basically this is used to reconstruct a proto-language, not to prove a language, but to reconstruct. And I would say Kemet is still living in Coptic, which Netter Neb said. So many of these things still apply, though it's not living with African people. But Kemet is not properly a new pasturage with abundance of grass or water, and I'll explain why. So then he uses another slide to say that the text is not talking about black land, yet the Egyptians used color for the ancient times to describe justice. Then when he uses the slide to rule out color again by saying just a city town, I will prove later that Kemet came out of a country transforming itself and putting a black ancestral theme to the country. So here is the thing. This is the thing. Diop is assuming, as he says. Give me 1 second. I have to take a drink of water. Give me a second, please.
Take your time there, brother. While you doing that, I hope
you'll talk yourself to water.
I hope that everybody is enjoying the presentation so far, and everybody can hear Brother Reggie and see the screen loud and clear, and loud and clear, and see him.
Ow! I thought you were gonna stop with the rule, yo. The rule.
Okay, so.
All right, so we are.
Diop, check out the Diop is assuming. Check out the Diop is not proving. Check out the Diop is begging the question, according to Asar Imhotep. What does Asar Imhotep does? He goes straight to the Europeans, straight to the goddamn Germans, right? Right? Budge, not German, but most of these are Budges. Go straight to Budge. And what he does is he reads what Budge says and Budge's definitions and say, look, black people, Kim here means attribus, right? Not even the Kemetic name, right? Here, district of Kakam, Budge, for this Kemet, right? For this Ta Kemet, town of Eastern Desert, right? For Kimka, the necropolis of Saqqara, not Kim where? Not Kim where, not the how can I say, not Kim where, not the great black gnome, right? No, it's the necropolis of Saqqara. This is Europeans. Kim where, town in the Nome, Atribis, using in European terms. Where? This is an African country. These are Africans. We have a right, and we did name our places in our own language. What the hell is he doing? Budge is qualifying our language? Kim said, district, situation unknown, Budges, Jim Ware, a town in Egypt. A town in Egypt, right? Really? I'm not going to go on. My point is, it doesn't matter how many slides the source shows, Kemet and other variations and definitions by Europeans. He was, in his way, committing the worst crime. He's assuming that the white gods are correct. He is committing the worst crime on African people. He has assumed that the white gods are correct, and he's showing this slide against Netanyahu, who was his opponent, Netanyahu, but he's showing this slide against Shekinah Diop, and he's using Budge. Diop's proof makes them apply the rule, and the adjective qualifies the determinative. Diop was upset with this construction, so Diop set out to prove Kim with the feminine singular T met the black thing, and now we need the determinative to say what type of black thing. So all Diop did, he's a scientist, he used Kemetic linguistic order of operations. That's what he did. Not Kemetic. He used Kim, not Kemetic, because Kemetic means properties of Kim. He used ancient, our people, a linguistic order of operations. That's what Shekinah did. So Netanyahu, straight up and down, he is not playing. He sees that the adjective is black, Kim. He's applying it. He just went on and he did Coptic, Nubian, Dongla, Dinky, Dogon, Tommy, Tomo, so that he's just saying, wow, this does not work just for ancient Egypt, but it works for surrounding languages in ancient Egypt. The adjective qualifies the word. I just proved that the adjective with the feminine T, singular T is a thing, and the determinative or classified just tells me what type of thing, and the original adjective qualifies the construction of the word. Now, all I have to do is show Asar Imhotep does not know the chronology of the word, Kemet, and then prove Kem means black. Asar makes this very easy for me, for he makes another terrible mistake, right? He said, both hypotheses are incorrect for the following reasons. Ignore the chronology and earliest usage of the term. Netanyahu, Diop, myself has proved that we didn't ignore the classifiers or the determinatives. We just used the adjective to qualify the determinative. Then he says both hypotheses fail to support the idea the root of Kim is black. I didn't need this, but Netanyahu proved that by his illustrations that he didn't misuse the rule, and Shekinah Diop didn't misuse the rule. Dr. Richetti doesn't misuse the rule, and Fedisi doesn't misuse the rule. Bonacci, Montgomery does not misuse the rule. The only person who misused, and even Ujao doesn't, Ujao knows the rule. I showed the rule. It exists, the rule exists. You have to prove the rule wrong, right? You have to prove the cases wrong. So anyway, Netanyahu won one prong of the argument. Okay, so this is Old Kingdom Pyramid text example of Kemet and Kim. Does Kim mean black? Okay, I'm putting this here because this is really important. So you can see Old Kingdom Egyptian, where basically Jawo could get through this, and I could get through it with the with a little help. But basically, we are talking about Aset and Nebhed, the two sisters, and we're talking about Kim in one part, Kim Ware in one part, the Great Black, and then where the other red dot is, we're talking about the gnome, gnome Kemet, or not the gnome Kemet, but in this case it will be the Black Wall or the Bitter Lake, My point is, in Old Egyptian, you're not seeing the determinatives of things and people. It is in context of the word. It's something that we will call semiotic, right? We will call it symptomatic. It is in context of the word in which we can understand what is going on, even though here where we have Kim where at the other place we have more information in the form of a determinative. But when we first see Kim here, we don't see it with a determinative. Okay. So now let's just look at this, what this says. It says, basically, the two sisters, Aset and Nephet, have come to you. They make you sane, you greatly black in your name of the great black lake, greatly green in your name of the great green. Look, you have become great and enclosed as a great continuous. Look, you have become in circle. Okay, so let's just go back to this. And so here, a Netcher scholar could see the great black, and then they could see the bitter lake. And then if they look closely, they could see the color, the great green, right? So it's there with that squiggly in the line, that in the land, and then the where. So here we have the same thing. We have in, of course, Middle Egyptian is the best of the Egyptian language where it becomes very sophisticated. In Old Egyptian, they did have some determinatives, but in this case, we do understand that we see the great green. The great green is a thing. Now this the first part which I didn't show, it says, "O Osor, the ruler, rise, lift yourself up. Your mother Nut has borne you. Geb has wiped your mouth for you. The great Paset protects you and has put for you your foe under you. Carry one who is greater than you, then to say him in your name of the great Saw shrine. Lift up him who is greater than you, then say your name of the finite known." Now, I'm going to come back to this. For you who are careful, right, just make a note that I'm talking about Tijinu and the finite, or what the Europeans call it the finite known, right? Just remember this, right? This is from Jennifer Helen, and the other translation was from Johanna Grzyboska. Now, Asar believes that Kemet with the Neoglyph does not show up until the Middle Kingdom. Here he's assuming that the European God is correct again. The earliest forms of the word Kemet have the Allen Gardner N23 as determinatives. See Gardner, 1957. 333. It is a sign of irrigated or cultivated land. Ogin Golet, in his seminal essay, Kemet and Other Egyptian Terms for Their Land, Golet, notes that Kemet made its first appearance as a name designation for Egypt in Dynasty 11 during the rule of the monarch Nefertari, Menhotep II. A matter of fact, both Kemet and Mary made their debut during this time prior to the Middle Kingdom. Egypt was simply known as Kinu, the residence, literally interior, right? The words Kemet and Mary are considerably more common in literary texts. I'm reading it like this way, unexciting, because that's just how Europeans talk. They just talk like that, right? The authoritative. The earliest form of the word Kemet has the Allen Gardner 23 as the determinative. So we're talking about chronology. That's a prong of this conversation on, oh, wow, I didn't want to go back this far, but yeah. Both hypotheses are incorrect for the following reasons. We ignore the chronology in the earliest use of the term. We ignore it. I'm not ignoring it. I'm conscious of it. And I'm not assuming that the European is correct. I'm not going to assume that the European is not. I'm going to look. Now, remember early on, I asked William Randolph X, who was my, William Randolph X was in the Craft of Amin Ra. Craft of Hugh Nefer. And he was a close But besides that, he was closer than Dr. Ben than the craft that Dr. Ben created for people to understand. I'm not a member of the craft, but who never. I'm not a member. I was younger, Sons of Africa. We were being trained to enter the craft. That never happened. And then my teachers, Professor Small and Dr. Jeffries, decided, no, we want our students to be more free of thought and not confined by any obes, because then they're confined by the obes. Now, anyway, I asked William Randolph X about why is it the Black land? And he said that, you have to look in the pyramid text. Dr. Ben says, look in the pyramid text. There are other places, but the earliest form is in the Old Kingdom in the pyramid text. And so you look in the pyramid text, a lot of times you do see the word Kemet, not with the glyph. You don't know if it's talking, you're assuming because you're reading translations, you're just reading what they say, but you're not trying to prove anything or look for anything. Anyway, according to Asar, the oldest usage of Kemet is comes from Ogden Golet, because she's quoting again our white god, Ogden Golet. I don't have a problem with quoting white folks, but I gotta look, right? A lot of times they're right. A lot of times they're incomplete because a lot of times they're publishing books for the general population or for the medium experts. But Europeans hide their hand and hide their work. Some of the books that we need cost $5,000, $10,000. They're in libraries like in Columbia, libraries that we can't get in without going to that university. But yet they know it's there, right? So I know I'm being long, but I am being careful and I'm being complete. So Ogden Gauntlet, a white god, said this. So it's dependent on his European quote, but does not check other sources. Both are incorrect. Asar and his European source. First usage is in the pyramid text of Pepi, utterance 674, section 1998b. So at least there is another European saying that Kemet is in another place. And here it is. The plate is hidden for almost every translation of pyramid text. You will see it refer to this, but when you go to the pyramid text, you will never find it because you have to go to the one of the first people, the great masters of the European, not Mercer, not Maspero, not J.P. Allen. You have to go to Kurt Cease, who's their grand master. And in this handwritten note of Kurt Cease, in the miscellaneous utterance of the pyramid text, written in 1908, though the plate should be well known is not, the implications are enormous. In the Old Kingdom, stand before the chief. That's basically what we're saying. Standing before the Kente, right, of Kemet at Happy. So that's what the quote is basically saying is aha, ek, hente, Kemet, hap. That's basically what it's saying. And this is in a pyramid text. And so there was a skit where Richard Pryor did. Richard Pryor did a skit where he walked in with a bunch of Europeans and he started looking around in his tomb. And he said, wow, look at all these black things. It's all black. Look at this. These people got afros. These people are cool. Look, they posing. Man, look at this. This is a black dude. And the Europeans started backing away, right? And then they sealed the tomb with Richard Pryor in it. This would be one of the things that you would find in ancient Kemet that the Europeans hold dear to themselves. For if even though it should be the front center of every book, it is not. So the chronology test of Asar Imhotep failed. He relied, and Asar, man, listen, I mean, Asar is a bright dude. I'm not taking away anything from Asar the man. I'm just taking away from the method. And because he chose to criticize Diop and didn't follow the rule, I'm just trying to make my point. Asar is not personal. It's just African. Can you still hear me?
Yep, we can still hear you.
Yeah, can you hear yourself is the question.
Who's talking, Unc?
Yeah, can you hear yourself? That's the bigger question. Well, go ahead.
Wait, Unc. Oh, I mean, you really want to interrupt like that?
I didn't interrupt you.
Okay, so, I mean.
I thought you said you asked because we hear you. We can hear you.
No, I asked Ujawa is handling this. Can you read any of this?
No, sir.
All right, you my brother. I love you, Uncle Cat, for who you are, right?
Yes,
Have you ever seen this plate before?
What this plate? I heard of it. I heard of it.
Yeah, of course you heard it. Have you ever seen it?
No, sir.
Okay, so, Uncle Keck.
Yes, sir.
My brother.
Okay.
Stand down.
All right, I'm standing down, sir.
Kim does mean black. Now, so Brother Reggie now has to follow Asar's, and Asar is not incorrect. Asar is correct about pointing out the assumptions that we make. Asar is doing a great service to our people. He's doing a great service to our people because someone has to respond. I'm just responding for my teachers. If I'm incorrect, they will correct me. And if I'm incorrect, my adversaries will correct me. So if Asar is wrong, he will be corrected like I am correcting him on the grammar rule. So Kim does mean black. So now we're going to get to the prong of his thing. In Asar's presentation, he provides no evidence for ancient Egyptians that Kim does not mean black, except for stating it and not following the feminine singular T rule, showing points that Kim may mean other things and does not prove himself that Kim does not mean black in this context. He simply just used a bunch of variations from our gods, the European, to show, look, Kim means black. Kim does not mean black. And Europeans say this, but Europeans say a lot of things. Sometimes they actually tell the truth, but you got to look. All right. I mean, you just can't look. You got to see. So he was looking at what they said. Some things I don't think he agreed. Here, even the Europeans say Kemet is the black land and Kim as black, right? Without being a unit using a determinative, but you got to look. So here, Kim is black, and he gives his sources, right? And then there is no determinative. So the first thing we do, we see the determinative that Asar used, right? As being black, meaning with the hair. But then we see in 1098, 8, we see Kim, Old Kingdom, Kim, just straight. It's an adjective. The Europeans go on and say the black land, but they want to say the black land because they know the rule now. But they want to say it's the black land. They don't want to say it's the black people, the black state. And so they're comfortable. Watch what they do. Comfortable with saying the black land, Egypt. But when they get to Kemet, all of a sudden it's Egyptians. Do y'all see that? This is our intellectual adversaries. Kim is black, even for them. But all of a sudden, when you get to Kim, they use a modern constructed word, Egyptians. And then they go back to Kim, where now it's the Bitter Lake. Then they have the jar. They have completion, conclusion. But the fact of the matter is, all of a sudden now, Kim is black. Adjective, yes, good. You know, we know about the femininity rule, but God damn it, I am not going to show my servants, niggas, that they cause that Kemet has anything to do with black. And if you do, you're going to be locked into a tomb. You're going to be discredited. You're going to be marginalized. But Diop stood tall. He stood strong, and he made the point. Now, okay, so we can go into a little bit science and archaeology. Blackware. Black pots was probably first. Okay, so we're talking about the production of black and then blacktop pottery. Black pots were first produced occasionally by accident, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, black pots was made through smoke. So basically, it was a scientific process of using smoke stains, and then they perfected it. So the African was using science, charcoal, carbon to create blackware. Okay, so this is science of creating black science, right? Redware is pretty much red and black pottery is made a similar way, right? Where in this case that you still use smoke to blacken the black parts, and then you need and then but before that there's red underneath it, and so basically what they do is they chip away the black part to reveal the red part, right? But the black pot is made is basically, well, smoked. So then we get this concept, the African. Don't you think the African would kind of like deify this process, make it a determinative, the smoked charcoal, which becomes a kindler. Okay, so then we get to maps. This is an Egyptian map of Hammamet, where those Africans came back from the black land to their black fertile place, their own plot in Kemet, where they felt comfortable by the water, relieving themselves. But they themselves created a map of black and red, right? So when you have red and black pottery, what do you think that means? Why would they make a red and black pottery? Well, they're making it black, the soil, the country where they live, and red, the desert. And here is the map illustrating what I have said. So, but Kim does not mean black, and desert, it does not mean red, right? In the context is that he wants to use it, but if you ask somebody who knows ancient Egyptian language, what color is the top and what color is the bottom, you're going to get Kem and you're going to get desert. You're going to get Kem and you're going to get desert here, because we're definitely talking about the desert, and we're definitely talking about fertile plains. I didn't see Asar quote any text relating to the earliest usage of Kem, black in writing to show that Kem was not black. I didn't see that. I know he said it. I know he showed the dictionary, and then he showed the points. But yeah. So he might have showed a single paragraph. I'm trying to show you Medew Netcher. So interesting. 1934, 1935 excavations at Giza, offering list in the Old Kingdom with Salim Hassan. I'm like, man, the Ifadisi, that's part of Ifadisi name. I'm like, it's strange. But anyway, this Old Kingdom offerings. So here, Old Kingdom offerings, where you have the Medew hedge, and the Medew hedge is the white vase, and then you have the Kem, the Kem Medew, which is the black stone. So we know we're using adjectives to talk about color. Again, the adjective is qualified and determinative for these particular items. So this is an old Egyptian, Old Kingdom Egyptian. So I took this Kim glyph from there. Sorry, it's not as clear, right? So the key component for production of vases is carbon material set on fire to produce smoke. So the glyph of the carbon on fire is a representation of this process. Why would the ancient Egyptians not memorialize this important technology in a glyph that was so widely used in pre-dynastic and dynastic times? The ancient Egyptians were careful to memorialize objects widely used in their writing system. They also used this soot carbon material based consisted of smoke black soot by burning either a cheap kind of Frankenstein or the shells of almonds, and then specialty quality used on the amount of its supported medicinal properties contained besides carbon. So they put in some juice on the black soot, the medicine, so that they could put it under their eyes, but nevertheless, it's still black eye paint. Now, this is where I get into a little trouble, where, Jao may get at me and maybe some of the other Netcher scholars, because Jao is definitely a Netcher scholar. But then we have Hor Din, this Horus Din, and we have him sitting on his throne, and then we have him apparently doing the Hepset, the Hepset festival, where he has to test his fitness, and we see Har, and then we see Din in the glyphs, and then we see the king, and then we see these other. This is First Dynasty, Old Kingdom, like interesting, right? So we see other things that we can make out. We see the North soot or the sweat. We see basically hot, like Hatshepsut. We then underneath this we have this object. This is where I'm gonna get in trouble with Jao, and I could take it. Where this looks like it's the Q for like caress, and the M, the owl, saying Kim. And then it looks like the T. So it could be very well something else, but this looks like old First Dynasty Kemet right there. Okay, well, this is C. Okay, so this doesn't have anything to do with black, but it does have something to do with the people naming their state. In this, but what I am using is I'm not doing the look-see method. I'm being multidisciplinary. I am using my skills in Medew Netcher, which is 1 part, 2 part less than Ujao, right? I'm using, but I have good comprehension skills. Analysis skills. I'm a former engineer. I see him doing a Hepset. I think that is, we can all say that that's happening. But I do see this Kemet, and that's interesting. So I'm looking at the chronology of Kemet. So Asar, he goes to Kalenjin language, and he goes and looks at what they're saying. These may be descendants of ancient Egypt, but this is, this ain't got nothing to do with grammar rules or anything like that for ancient Egyptian. But we're looking here, he's looking at Kem roots in the Kalenjin language. Nice way to deflect that he did not know he did not show that, or that he used that the adjective qualifies the noun. He goes, and I do think comparative languages are important. But you can't use this chart to deal with what we're talking about. I'm almost finished. Theophilo Benga, he says that, he cites another method that we could use to help us understand language even though he uses comparative linguistics, historical comparative linguistics. He cites another method. It's called the semiotic method. Definition of semiotics: a general philosophical theory of signs and symbols that deal especially with their function in both artificially constructed and natural languages, and comprises syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. So historical or comparative linguistics is a tool that we can use, but there are other tools. Edgar Ridley, he's a best-selling author on Amazon.com in the category of African studies. He remains at the top 50 best-selling books. He talks about the symptomatic thought process that versus the symbolic thought process. So it has to be symptomatic. It has to have something to do with the functions, solving problems. Those are his two books. If Adichie uses his work, I use his work. Theophile Obenga uses is symptomatic, and he's using semiotics. Edgar Ridley uses cognitive semiotics. My point is that the comparative method is but one of the many tools we can use to understand the people, their culture, and their artifacts. As Obenga correctly inferred on the other slide, there are other tools that we can separate our understanding of Africa from the clutches of the oppressors. So Theophile Obenga says, to exit the African general linguistics repetitions and current impasses, as well as secular minded status that of standard description, endless and precise language project. Since the comparison is constantly avoided, discarded, ignored, we must necessarily take into account the Egyptian language, Pharaonic and Coptic, which should now have a place in the African university next to the Greek and Latin, Arabic, Dravidian. So we can use other tools. I'm in no way saying that the comparative historical comparative method is not useful, but in the sense of this conversation is that I believe that Assar misused the tool. This tool simply does not take precedence over the other methods, but in this case, the word Kemet attested, deciphered, and translated in Nile Valley, that takes precedence over that with the art and artifacts. The tool should be used to understand the world of the Nile Valley African before ancient Egyptian writing. The writing of the Nile Valley African stands on its own. So we could use a semiotic, symptomatic, Egyptian grammar, Egyptian translations, understanding about to understand the world. Assar did not take a multidisciplinary approach to proving Kim was not Black at all. He didn't do that. And he just simply did not do that. He assumed that the European was right and that he used other meanings of European scholars, but he did no proof of even looking at whether or not the Europeans were right or wrong. So that's why Netcher won the case, and this is why so I've showed textual proof, scientific usage proof. I will show color name proof, but you've already asserted that Kim is a color, right? But Assar actually said in the slide that desert does not mean red, and Kim does not mean Black. So Ujao asserted that, but Assar did not. There's a semiotic proof, and there's a symptomatic proof. Netanel, he looked at Kim as equal Black. He looked at other genetic related languages. About ancient Egyptian in general, Dr. Faraji is an expert in Nubian culture, in the later parts, and he shows that the ancient Egyptian world lived at least up to like 900 BC, interrupted by the destruction of Meroe. It revived itself actually under King Silko in Christianity. Had another problem with the Arab invasion where, but his book is The Roots of Nubian Christianity Uncovered. Now, so I finished proving all three prongs of the test to show the chronology of the terms Kemet, Kemet2 at the same time that they mean black. Then earlier, with the help of Net proving the determinative obligation in its proper perspective using Middle Egyptian grammar. Diop's adjective qualifies as determinative. So I proved, or I looked at the three prongs that no one else has ever done, whether Asar Imhotep accepts my response. Today, this was in fact done. I'm done proving that Diop assumed nothing. He didn't assume and remains correct in his defense of Kemet, and Net won the debate because he had applied the rule. Asar Imhotep and his colleagues did not prevail because they never showed the Middle Egyptian rule was incorrect. However, I'm surprised that Asar would deny black as a color. So I add some references. So here, color terms in ancient Egyptian, Coptic, 4 basic color terms are black, white, red, and green. And then he mentions, of course, what the names are. So, and then he mentions that they are adjectives can also be used as predicates. And he talks about the eye. The eye is red, or the eye is lapis lazuli, like blue. So he's using adjectives. So he himself is applying the rule in his context of speech, making them qualified a noun. So what just happened, I showed the chronology of the word Kemet. I proved that in Middle Egyptian grammar, the use of the feminine T, singular feminine T determinative, and it qualifies it the determinative or classifier. It just helps us know what type of thing that we're talking about. I proved that Kemet is black in Kemet, and I proved the root, and the adjective that qualifies the determinative was black land. I saw some names of colors. I saw even used a black pupil example and just ignored that the pupil is black. Dark for African people. Pupils are usually dark for African people. I showed that Kim is black, the concise Middle Egyptian dictionary without a determinative, just to source it, what the source did not do. He stated but did not prove accurately the chronology of the word Kemet. He proved it relying on Ogden. He was incorrect himself about the chronology of Kemet if what I showed you by Curtis is there. He relied if, in fact, what I showed you on the glyph of Din, the plate of Din was correct. He didn't look further than Ogden. I at least looked. He did not follow Middle Egyptian grammar rule, the feminine singular T. He confused it with another rule, thinking it's feminine or it means feminine or something. He didn't state the rule enough for me in his paper, in his presentation, to say what type of rule he was using. He stated that Kim did not make black, but he did not prove it, yet, except for showing variations. Yet he has to admit that it is a color. Color is an adjective that would satisfy the feminine singular T assembly of words that Diop talked about. And then Diop says that, of course, the adjective qualifies as determinative. It does not even begin to add relevant African history. The Africans, who they were, what did they respect, how did they live, how did they respect their ancestors. However, he spends his time creating the fictional Egypt called Naganda. The use of Naganda itself is dangerous to our cultural image anyway. What Asar proceeds to do, since ignore the grammar rules, and because Europeans give different definitions to Kemet, he proceeds to use his form of historical comparative method to reconstruct Kemet and what it means. He also said that Shekhar Diop assumed, and therefore Diop was wrong. He then set up a case of that Diop's usage of Egyptian grammar was wrong on Kemet and Kemet by setting a case dependency. I showed that Diop and Netcher used the rule. You use the rule first, then you cite the examples. When you use the rule, you follow and examine the outcomes. If you believe that the outcome is correct, then you show the cases where it isn't correct. That's a proper method. He did not prove Netcher was wrong in his use of Middle Egyptian grammar. Further, Netcher used Coptic, the last form of Egyptian writing, to prove that it's still Kim was still black and said black in ancient Coptic. He went out of the ancient Egypt world to create cognates, which was unnecessary. The Remesher Egyptians put their words in context. He constructed a meaning of Kemet using the word Naganda. Europeans already uses Naganda. Or even if I mispronounce it, and it might be Ganda where the N is silent. If I read it, I'm still reading in Ganda until I apply a rule of making the N silent. Marvel Comics did his job. So where Asar Imhotep created this true meaning of Kemet, Herero from Herero, Unuganda, village property and new pastures with abundance of grass and waters. Well, Marvel Comics already did it in their Wakanda, in their fictional Uganda or Naganda. But in this case, Europeans tell you straight, there's Wakanda, there's Canaan, there's Azania, and there it goes, Naganda, where the niggas live. Right? Now, Kemet was no damn utopia. Africa shed blood to unite it. The world of the African, they were fighting not only the other people, the invaders, they were fighting famine, disease, and earthquakes. It is not just a properly a new pasturage with abundance of grass and water. That can't be accepted. A gift from Infidisi Jehudimas. Importance in this response is Infidisi's a great student of Dr. Richetti, focused on Imhotep II, Nephepetri in his teachings and new publications, Metahotep and the spirit of the Magi. Why is this important? It's important because it's important to put the concept of when Kemet became widespread usage in the Middle Kingdom. After the Old Kingdom, Tawi descended into chaos. That was the name, Shmai Tawi. First people went back to the nomes, and then nome rulers emerged. The kingdom's leadership split into two sections of power, Hawat Insu and Waset. Mentuhotep II emerged from the lens of Waset kings and rulers from the Intef family. During his reign, the unthinkable happened, family. The 14th year of Mentuhotep's reign is indeed the year of the crime of Thinis, or Tigino. This certainly refers to the conquest of Tigino by the kings of the Hawat Insu, who apparently desecrated the most sacred ancient royal necropolis of Abdu, like Abdu where? Abdu Shushan. In the process, they destroyed the period. They destroyed the necropolis that linked the whole people to the ancient past, the pre-dynastic past, the first dynasty past. Kedi III, who was the king of Hawaii Insu, showed remorse for the act in his famous instructions to his son Makari. Do not destroy ancient buildings, he said, with a destruction through action. I acted thus, and so it happened, just as he who has transgresses likewise did act against God. He himself said that he acted against the African God by destroying ancient buildings, disconnecting his people from the past. This horrible act separated ancient Egypt from its past. Mentuhotep II subsequently dispatched his armies to the north. The famous tomb of the warriors, Del Abari, discovered in the 1920s, contained the linen wrappings of unmummified bodies of 60 soldiers killed in battle. Their shroud bearing Mentuhotep's sinew. Due to its proximity to the Theban royal tombs, the tombs of the warriors is believed to be that of the heroes who died during the conflict between Mentuhotep and his foes of the Norse. Citing it. The 39th year of his reign, he unified Kemet, Shmaitawi as a mandate and then ruled for 12 years. Now, in this crime of Tanis Tigino, the ancient city of the black ancestors of Namur and Jejeta otherwise was destroyed. In the Book of the Dead, Tigino is a holy place from ancient times. From the pyramid text, it was a black city where the deceased king would stand before the deified chiefs, the Kente, and thus the word Kemet rose out of the place in that period that they mythologized and deified. And because of the great crimes against the ancestors, who were the great blacks. So here you see Mentuhotep seizing the moment. He's seizing the moment. Infidisi Jehudimas expertly begins to write about this in his story. Here, the land is black, representing the land, the state. The red is the desert. He puts it on his face. He makes his face black. He conquers the red. That's the crown. So now this image becomes the symbol of his country. He personifies these colors, makes it the face of the people and the ruler. Mentuhotep's his tomb has a pyramid on top. He's familiar with the pyramid text. That's my point of this. It's also the model Hatshepsut's tomb. Mentuhotep makes himself the Khmer, the Great Black. From this, I'm using semiotic and I'm being symptomatic. This is what Mentuhotep does. He seized on the crime of Khedi III, and he was able to take a concept out of ancient Egypt for the Black king's ancestors, and he made it symbolic. Here's his wife. His wife's name is Kemset. Kemset is Kem and Set, and it's written in glyphs, and it basically means black wife, right? Or a delicate form of Kem without the charcoal, Kemset. And there she is, black as ever, Gucci down to her socks. That's the beautiful Kemset, his wife. Here is interesting because here is Kemset, but this time she's using, so there's the hieroglyph, and then it's her name, and she's a royal wife. And here she's being her hair black and beautiful as ever. She's being adored by Libyan women, and there is her name. And now she's applying that name to, or the writer is using the flesh glyph, like Netcher cat with the M, a play on words to show who she is. Unify the country, two terms come out of the 11th dynasty, Kemet and Tameri. Ogden says that Asar quoted, Kemet is in this context of the country that Egypt was used to concept, and I pretty much already said that. I'm saying this play hardly ever appears to talk about the Hente, the great chiefs of this place called Kemet at Hap, and then I just combine this remind you of this glyph, and then I show you what Europeans do. It's Europeans. They will go and they will describe every damn piece of that art image. But you notice when it comes to the Kemet glyph.
Hey, just one quick second, Brother Reggie. It's 11:24, so if you could wrap it up in 6 minutes.
Yeah, I'm wrapping it up.
Okay.
So I'm basically saying that the Kem glyph, they don't describe that. And then I go back to this point right here. I just have to wrap it up. But I'm just basically saying, say your name in the great nome or Dinite nome, depending on the translator. That's the great place intentional, taken with one of the shrines that might be there, a holy place is Kemet, combined with this glyph, the Kem glyph, gives Mentuhotep, knowing all of this, gives him a way in which to transform Egypt. These were the ancient, this is Diop, this is the ancient Black Africans in this shrine. And so, yeah. I just basically say what the comparative method is. I don't have time. What's the goal of the comparative method? I don't think that the comparative method should have been used to to try to figure out what Kemet was. We had enough information. Did we need to reconstruction coordinates for Kemet? No. Here's last couple slides.
Hey, bro, excuse me, Brother Reggie.
Yes?
I know you told me to stand down, but how long you think you got?
I already asked him that, and he's wrapping it up now.
So here's my point. My point is that
Because I done forgot the whole damn point, Reggie. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Wait, Unc, I already asked him that. He's wrapping it up.
Shit, he wrapped me up. You won, Reggie. No, you won.
So here it is. The Mentuhotep is slaying an Egyptian. He's slaying an Asiatic, slaying a Nubian. He's slaying a Tenahu, right? So he's slaying Egyptian first. He's unifying his country. So, just because you black, nigga, you ain't the great black, nigga, right? You ain't the Kemet too, nigga. You done forgot, right? So you getting slayed. So there's a reason black ain't James Black. We got to be great blacks. So stop saying, leave that out. I'm interested in your response. The whole point of this presentation is that if you want to learn Medew-Netcher, everybody interested in learning Medew-Netcher, interested in this presentation, like my presentation, buy Dr. Richetti out. She is a great African woman who spent her years trying to give us ordinary Africans a way in which we can talk about this. Buy her out. It's at Amazon. I won't talk about my tribute to my teachers. I close. Homage to you, great African ancestors of Ta Nefer, the beautiful land. There is the red and there is the black. And I close. I'm gonna get some water. I close. You happy, Unc?
Okay, so that's good. Reggie, that was good. You said you get some water. All right, let me.
Damn, I'm happy.
1 second. Let me go ahead and.
Shit, man, listen.
Hold up, Reggie. If you could stop sharing your screen before you get up, did I catch you?
Get you lady out of there, yo. God, do you write everything down, Wu-Ja?
No, there's a slide up there. So okay, so I gotta stop sharing my screen.
God. Hey, Reggie. How you feeling, brother? You all right?
No, I'm thirsty. I'm been going for a long time. Yeah.
Oh, shit. You said you thirsty.
So
man, shit.
So I have a question unrelated to what you were saying, Reggie. But it's for everybody. And it's for the audience, actually.
Man, yo.
We've been on here for about 2 hours now.
2 hours.
And so what I would like to do is to so this video won't be a 5-hour long video or whatever the case is. I would rather to close this one out and then restart another video right away, so we can start fresh where we have a part 1 and part 2. So this one video won't be real long, and we don't have to download it and chop it up and all that kind of stuff. So if that's agreeable to everybody, then we can do that very quickly. And when we start back up, it's on the same channel, the whole 9. Everybody who's watching now can just watch the other video.
You gonna start another video? Man, Reggie won, man. Shit, hands down.
So
vote for Reggie. Vote. You got it.
But that doesn't answer my question.
Was it supposed to be that long though, Wu-Ja? Did you expect it to be that long?
I would like an answer to my questions because we're gonna extend it even longer, talking about was he supposed to be that long and all that stuff. So,
man, we can respond tomorrow or something, man. We
have some initial questions. Why don't we just do 10 minutes of initial questions and then close out?
Well, I mean, I don't think that would be beneficial because a lot of things you said and a lot of things, because we allowed you to. We gave you, the whole floor to speak, and to go through everything. And I have exactly everything you said and just me alone, y'all about to go to class. So Reggie, I'm about to give you a free lesson in grammar. I'm about to give the audience a free lesson in grammar.
I haven't seen so much dancing around a subject since Beach Street.
So listen, Reggie, man, you are my brother. From another mother and everything and all of that good stuff. And so, you know, because we spent
Beach Street. We're in the beat.
this time on it. So I just want to know. So it's 11:30, and the attention span, and stuff like that. So are we gonna start another one, or are we gonna?
How long was Netcher and Asar's debate? That was 4 hours long.
Yeah,
right.
And people,
that was the problem.
That's the problem. People.
That's
people
the problem. We didn't got beat down.
No, people don't want to watch a 4-hour video.
I leave it alone. I just made my thing was to make a response. I had
no. Listen, Reggie, you're fine. I'm not. I don't. Nobody's
making. Look, I mean, it's not fine what you want to do to me. But
no. Wait.
Anything to you? We're just going to close this one out and start another one.
I have a problem with that. I heard that.
So your all of your presentation is just one presentation, and people don't have to skip through 4 to 5 hours worth of content.
So fine. I'm logging out. Send me a link.
No. You don't have to go anywhere. Don't be so fast. We don't have to go anywhere. It's just for the YouTube audience.
Oh, okay.
So we can all relax and so that was the only thing. So nobody's complaining about how long you took. That was good. I like that. That was really good. I mean, I guess
I appreciate that, Reggie.
Well, Unc is, but
yeah, you won that. You won, yo. If it was left to me, yo, I say you won, yo. Yes, sir. I don't know how you did it, boy. God, should have wrote the book, man.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. So hopefully the audience is agreeable to it. I know it's late. Again, it's Saturday night. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. But we're gonna start another YouTube session right when we close this out. So don't go anywhere. Just look at the channel. You'll see it pop up. Click on it, and we can keep it rocking and rolling. All right. So yeah.
Can we just start with the rule? Did he get that rule right? That's all I want to know.
We will discuss all of that on the next
thing. God,
man!
He put the hour on the rule. Okay, hey Reg, you better have gotten that rule right, yo. You went an hour on that rule.
I called it the Europeans, the gods. I called it them.
All right, so hold on, wait. Can I at least get this closed out? So I want everybody.
Yeah, go ahead, John. Go ahead, man.
So listen, so again, everybody who's watching, we got over 140, we got 140 people watching. So I expect the same people to jump on over to the next video. We're only doing it to keep it bite-sized because, we don't want these 4 and 5 hour videos where people don't really.
How long is it now, John?
And everything. It's about 2 hours. It's about 2 hours.
Okay, all right.
It started at 9. It's almost.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours. So right. So we're about to jump off. So everybody, I'll see you all in the next video. Stay put. Just stay on our channel, and when you see the next live come up, just go ahead and click it on in. So again, this is to close out the brother Reggie's presentation. We gave him, the floor, the mic, all the time, and everything like that.
Appreciate you, Reggie.
We respect the brother Reggie. We appreciate him, and we glad to have him. And have him back, on the scene. He said he didn't go anywhere, and we know he didn't go anywhere. But it's always good to see the brother. So with that, I'm gonna say Shem Hotep, and we're gonna pick up with this on the next video.
Now it's time to beat him up. Now we have fun.
Plato said that maybe in the future we need to know some arithmetic too. We need to know Netcher. In Kemet, for me, is education. The way they think, they build, and they practice their education is very unique in history. Without education, I believe there will be no Kemet.